Hey everyone, my name is Peyton Busha, and today I will be taking you through my journey on my new to me tech tool, which is Skew the Script. So, a little bit about myself. I am a 9th and 10th grade Algebra 1 teacher. This is my first year in the Gen Ed classroom. I have been co-teaching in Algebra 1 for the past 3 years, and this year I've had the opportunity to move to the Gen Ed world, and I have really enjoyed it. These kids have been very great in just trying new things and utilizing new tech tools, and so this has been a really cool opportunity just to explore a new to me tool as well. So the students I use for my implementation are some of my 9th grade students. I teach 2 blocks of year-long algebra and 1 block of semester algebra. My semester students move at a little quicker of a pace, so I was able to utilize some of Skew the Script's resources and lessons for our unit on quadratic functions. And it has been really awesome just to see my students engaged and the enhancement of learning through the real world context that Skew the Script was able to provide. So it was really awesome. So, a little bit about why I chose Skew the Script. The first thing is that it is just very engaging. Right off the bat, the website just really hooked me in. Not only that, but I just felt like I, as a teacher, needed to do something different when we got to our section on quadratics and real world applications of quadratics. A lot of students just don't buy into the fact that yes, you do utilize this in the real world. And so I saw Skew the Script as an opportunity to show them how it is utilized in the real world in a context that makes sense and is applicable to them. Something else that really just drew me into Skew the Script was that it's different and it's new. So all of the students that I implemented it with this semester are 9th graders. So they're coming up from the middle school. They really have not had experiences where they have been able to just engage in a technology in this sort of manner. And so I just saw that as a good opportunity to just throw something new at them. It was new to me as well. So we were all learning and we just made the best of it. And then the last reason that I chose Skew the Script was because of its high rating on Common Sense Media and through colleagues. So it was very highly recommended from several people that I trusted, as well as just reading other teachers and educators talk about it. So I just thought that it would be a good opportunity to try it. So as far as my research and my exploration goes, the first place that I discovered Skew the Script was on Common Sense Media. So here you can see Common Sense Media. They rated it overall as a 4 on the learner rating, which I felt was pretty high. It says it's for grades 8 through 12. Personally, with my experience, I probably would not utilize it up until probably high school because some of the verbiage and everything is a little bit more in depth. However, my 9th graders seem to love it. So this is just a little look inside of Skew the Scripts. You can see there's different units, days that you can spend on each unit. And we'll go over some of this as well on on Skew the Script's website also. But I just felt overall they rated the engagement 4 out of 5 stars. The pedagogy was good. The support was a 3, which I had kind of evaluated that as well. But overall, with Common Sense Media rating it as a 4, I felt like it would be pretty good to just try out and see. Another reason that I explored it was through collaboration with some of the AP teachers. I work across the hall from several AP science teachers, and the teacher right next door is an AP math teacher, and they all use it in their classroom when it gets to a unit that Skew the Script has, and they highly recommended it just based off of its student exploration and then the applicable real-world situations that it utilizes. Additionally, Skew the Script, like I said earlier, it was highly recommended, And this is just a little insight into their website. So as you can see, as soon as you get on the website, you can see that it's free, genuinely relevant math lessons. And the genuinely relevant really just is what caught my eye, as I mentioned earlier. And so you can just see that it's used by 20,000 teachers. There's a ton of lessons. And I continue to just look through the website so you can see that it's genuinely relevant math. It's free. There's several contents that it covers. They're nonpartisan lessons. So the students are really challenged. And the impact of it and the purpose behind it is for the students that just maybe sometimes are bored in class and they don't really engage. And so this was developed to engage those students who are sometimes lost or who don't see the purpose behind what we're doing in class. And so I just found this very insightful and rewarding for a lot of the students, especially that I work with, just from our county. And so I just felt it was a good opportunity to try it out. So let me get back to my slides so that I can present. So looking through the website as we just did, I started with the lesson. So since I'm Algebra 1, I strictly just looked at Algebra 1. I did glance over Algebra 2 and some of the other lessons, but you can see at the top there's different tabs that you can scroll over. I started with the lessons and kind of breezed through these. Algebra 1 is my content, so I started here. And this is the unit that we are actually on, is the quadratics. So I clicked on the quadratics, and why is the McRib always back? You can see some of the other questions are like, are payday loans fair, which relates to linear functions? Are electric cars actually better for the environment for systems of equations? I'm really interested on using this analyzing functions once we get to Unit 6. So are elections fair? And then there's also a unit on how can you become an influencer, which relates to geometric sequences. That is our next unit, and my kids are really excited to kind of dig back into this once we get to that unit. So it was really, really awesome to see that they were eager to jump back into this as well. My initial evaluation of the tool is the functionality, the critical thinking, the customization, and the collaboration. So you can see, so for functionality, that was big for me. I could scale it to fit a variety of my needs, my class sizes, my specific students. So it was very flexible with what I needed it to be for. As far as critical thinking goes, my students, the whole time we went through all 6 lessons, they were engaged, they were using higher order thinking skills, enhancing their cognition, and it really just went above and beyond what we would have normally done had I taught this lesson using my resources from last year or that I had been given from other teachers. Customization was also really big. I was able to customize it to fit all of my learning needs. And it also, in the tool, you have a lot of different learning opportunities, whether that be through showing a graph, watching a video, working on a Desmos assignment. There was just a lot of customization integrated into the site as well. That made it really awesome. And then as far as collaboration goes, my students were engaging in conversation. It supported the real world application of the tool. And I just saw a lot of good conversation between my students that I don't normally hear when we would previously go over this unit. So that was really awesome as well. So my overall rating of it initially was a 4 out of 5 stars. I give it a 4 out of 5 simply because, like I stated earlier, it was widely known, the customization was great, the cognitive presence was awesome. Some of the things that I do miss or that were not really available using Skew the Script was tech support. There is a little tab at the top that you could fill out for help. It linked to a Google form, and you could fill it out if the lessons needed fixing, like if you saw an error on the key or if one of the hyperlinks wasn't working, things like that. But other than that, there was no true tech support that I found. So I really had to do my own learning on how to fix some of the things if they required support. Another thing was the accessibility. So none of my students in my gen ed classes have disabilities or require accommodations through an IEP or a 504. So it was okay that there were no accessibility features for them. However, I do plan on using this for my year-long students as well, which means that I am going to have to do my own sort of accessibility, whether that be allowing them to use a Google Chrome extension so that some of the material on the computer is read aloud to them, or allowing them to use speech-to-text features so that they can respond that way. Other than that, though, I mean, that's not anything different or anything hard that I have to do, but in the technology tool itself, there were minimal accessibility features that I do wish would have been there. And then also the last thing is the low facilitation. So the Desmos activities actually linked through Skew the Script do allow for that facilitation. The students are given instant feedback when they answer a question. I can monitor their progress through the presentation. However, as far as just using Skew the Script, there were no facilitation features on that. So here is my curation of how I implemented it and how my students accessed it. So the first thing we did was discover the concept. So going back to Skew the Script's website, the concept we used was quadratics, and the unit's overall question, as I stated earlier, is why is the McRib always back? So day 1 started in standard form of a quadratic. Day 2 went to factored form. Day 3 was number of your solutions, your axis of symmetry. It dug into some of the characteristics a little bit as well. Day 4 had students using vertex form. Day 5 they factored. And day 6 was a quadratic formula. I personally did not use the capstone just because of time purposes. However, I did go through all 6 days of lessons with my students. I really appreciated this as well because although there is one big overarching question, each day students are challenged with another question. So for example, day 1's smaller subset of a question was what price maximizes the revenue of a McRib? And through this, they utilized standard form, domain and range, intercepts, and how your parabola points, whether it's pointing upwards or pointing downwards. So that was really cool as well. If you click on each day, you can see that the key question is here. And then all of your activities through Skew the Script are linked here. So your hook video is linked. You can use the More tab to share it. Your student items are here in a PDF or in a doc. The Desmos link is here. And then there are also teacher items. So your handouts are here with a key. There's a slide deck that has all of this actually integrated in it. And then there is also a link where you can share lesson feedback. This also is a Google form. And then from this day's lesson, you can automatically just go straight to day 2. So the Desmos link goes to an activity that students can utilize, and it also just kind of pertains, you can see, to the McRib. So the video is actually here. And then students just kind of have some engaging pre-questions like, would you buy McRib? Why do you think they discontinue it and bring it back? And then it kind of gives them a hook. So to explore the business decisions that drive the return of McRib, we have to understand the driver of the market, which is its price. And so then it hints into today's question. So students are instantly hooked in and engaged right off the bat through the Desmos activity. The next thing that students would do is to download the resources. So I would download them first. So I discovered the concept, I downloaded the resources, and then students were able to access it through their learning management system, which in our county is Google Classroom. So you can see that this is my end of Google Classroom. It would not allow me to link the students in. However, when students go to Google Classroom, they can see that here is the handout for day 1. The slides are here as well, just in case they are absent. They can reference these at home. The Desmos activity is linked, and the YouTube video is also here. So students have access to all of this through Google Classroom. It makes a copy of each of these for each student. So when they click the link to the handout, they get their own copy. They can respond on this copy. So that was really beneficial as well, because they were able to just work on their own, at least for the first day. I displayed the slides in the video on my interactive whiteboard. So you can see the slides here go along with the handout as well. So the video is linked in there, the key question, there's some warm-up questions. This also goes along with the Desmos activities. So there are really a lot of ways that students are able to engage with this, which is what I liked. And then it's got them doing some of the math as well, filling in the table, drawing their parabola, and then kind of answering some questions on why do you think this is happening? What happens if the price increases and decreases? And then it also has Desmos, again, embedded so that they can use their graphing calculator and discuss why the parabolas may be open up or open downward. So it was honestly really cool. And then we worked through the lessons. On day 1, I modeled the expectations of how we would go through it. So students kind of worked individually. I had everything on the board. They worked through the paper the first day using a digital version on Google Classroom. And we kind of modeled like, okay, first we watch the video, then we do some of the questions and that sort of thing. After that, I did one day where we did think, pair, share. So students kind of worked individually. Then when I paired them up, they gave their explanations to their partner, and then them and their partner were able to share out. Another day, I did it just groups. So I had small groups working together. It was honestly really awesome to be able to implement this in so many different ways, and the students just grasp the concept so much better. So that was honestly just very, very awesome to see their engagement, their learning, the questions they had, the conversations we had. It was just truly, truly awesome to see. So here are some of the ways that universal design for learning were implemented into this as well. So for engagement, students were given like choice as far as whether they wanted to answer their questions written, if they wanted to answer on Google Docs. So that was kind of some choice they got. Again, on another day that I did groups, there was one day that I let them choose their own groups. So that was really cool as well. Goals were also clarified at the beginning. We set goals as a class that, it was new to me, it was new to them. So we set a goal that we were just going to try it out and see how it went. And I was measuring that through their engagement. And they were giving me what engagement they wanted to give. I wanted them to not just listen because I was up there teaching or because we were going through it, but I genuinely wanted to know their engagement. And when they were engaged, it really was just a beautiful thing to see their learning process. And then also through engagement or the why, we were recognizing the expectations. So on day 1, we set expectations. We went through the expectations. Everybody understood the expectations. And so that just kind of established a purpose and an engagement for the rest of this six-day tech tool exploration. As far as representation goes, there are multiple methods of perception. We heard a lot of different ideas from a lot of different students, and that was really awesome. Mathematical notation was also explored tremendously through this in a whole new insight, which was awesome. And then we cultivated multiple meanings. So students took a simple quadratic function, and at the end of this 6-day period, were able to understand how quadratics really were used to um, understand why some items, such as the McRib, come and go at different seasons. And so that was really cool to see them be able to make meaning of math and get it out of the classroom and into a real world context. And then action and expression for the how. Accessible materials. So the materials were available digitally on a paper copy. There were videos for multiple tools. There were Desmos activities. So nothing was ever the same. Students were able to utilize multiple tools. We use Google Docs in collaboration with Skew the Script. We use the Desmos, the YouTube videos, and then also just planning for challenges. So I knew that we were going to face challenges. For example, one of them was in order to watch YouTube now at our school, we have to submit um, a little form that says what we're watching, how it pertains to the lesson, and that sort of thing. So I had to seek pre-approval for that in advance. Some other challenges is one day the internet was down, so the Desmos links didn't work, and thankfully I had downloaded and printed everything in advance, so we didn't really get to utilize the technology that day. However, we did use the lessons. It was just in a paper format, so that was a little different as well. But it was nice to just work through those challenges with my students and them see that even when you get a challenge, it's okay. You can anticipate for it. You can work from it. So that was really rewarding as well. So universal design for learning was definitely present the entire time that we worked through these lessons. So honestly, I have nothing negative to say. The students responded well. As I've said earlier, they loved learning through this, and I've never seen students just love and be eager for math, especially quadratics, because it's new to them. They reacted very positively. Their conversations were on topic. They were consistently engaged. They had each one of them brought a new insight to the lessons every day. And I was very, very thankful for that. Um, it worked very well to model the first day. I think if I could go back and change anything, I would probably model the first 2 lessons, maybe do planned groups for day 3, think, pair, share day 4, and then allow them to maybe choose their own groups for day 5 and day 6. I might would throw in another individual work day as well. However, I don't think that the modeling for day 1, it worked okay for my semester kids, but when I implement it for my year-long students, I do believe that I will model for 2 days so that they know and understand the expectations at the beginning. The Desmos activities were a hit as well. The videos were also engaging. Students really loved that the activities provided them with some insight and some feedback as they were doing the activity, and they didn't really have to wait on that. And it was good for me as well because I could monitor where they were in their progress throughout the class period. So the learning experience was very phenomenal. Adjustments, like I've said earlier, I have to do prior approval for the videos, so I just do have to plan ahead a little bit to utilize this tech tool. Again, I would model for 2 days and start group work on day 3, and then do a daily recap of the lessons just to make sure that students are understanding the answer to that question and how it's building towards the bigger picture. Accessibility-wise for the learning environment, just again, providing multiple methods of response, allowing students to use their assistive technology. And then I also found that the peer tutors and the strategic planning was huge in allowing some of my maybe shyer students or my students who just are hesitant to do math. The peer tutors really got them out of their shell and had them engaging in the lessons. So that was awesome. So overall, I would definitely adopt this tool. For the future, I would just make those tiny tweaks as far as modeling for 2 days versus one, making sure that I already have prior approval for the videos, because once I do that once, I really don't have to do it again. So just making sure the prior approval is there. As far as recommendations go, I would like to see Skew the Script have more of a help tool, as far as like if the downloads aren't working or if the links aren't working. The Google form is not monitored as quickly as I would like it to be, which is fine, but that would just be my biggest recommendation is learning what to do or knowing what to do in those instances. And then resources needed. There aren't many resources needed, which is why it was great in our classroom. All of my students have access to a Chromebook, and then I have an interactive whiteboard in my room. So besides that, there were no additional resources that my students needed in order to be able to access this. They could do it at home. We worked on it in class. So it was honestly really well-rounded and well-suited for the materials that my students have access to every day. Professional development wise, I was able to collaborate with the AP teachers and learn more about it through them. I believe that if other math teachers were to adopt it, there probably would have to be a professional development opportunity, just to show them the purpose behind it. A lot of the teachers I worked with are a little hesitant to change and hesitant to technology in the math classroom. And so I do believe that just engaging in some sort of professional development to show the purpose behind it, and the engagement piece of it and how students respond, I do think that that would help get them on board with adopting Skew the Script as a valuable resource for our students in the math classroom. Other than that, that is all I have. I really did love Skew the Script, and I hope you all are willing to try it in your classrooms. Thank you.